Okay, I've got to say I'm okay with that. So moving to gravity assist. What is a gravity assist? Well, it's basically when a spacecraft uses the gravitational force of a planet to alter its speed or trajectory. So it's how we got these spacecrafts way out into the solar system, because without gravity assist, it would take 40 years to get to Neptune, for instance. And at the time that, say, the Voyager space probes were being designed, NASA could only, guarantee a few months before these things would break apart. Well, it turns out that Voyager's still going. It's 14 billion miles away. So when I started putting this book together and I found out about the gravity assist, I was really excited because I thought it would be a great way to bring the poems together. I think pretty early on, I found out that this guy, Michael Minovich, was the one who figured it out. He was about 25 years old, and he was at the Jet Propulsion Lab. He hadn't even gotten his PhD. And it was the summer of 1961 when he did the calculations on an old IBM computer. And it was right around my birthday when he figured out that it would work. And okay, it's all about me, but that was kind of cool because the way I'm using this metaphorically is it was called the three-body problem: the sun, a planet, and an orbiting body or comet. And I think of the sun as my father, the planet as my mother, and I'm the thing that's trying to, I'm influenced by them, and then I'm going to spin out. So it worked for me. It seemed to work for the book I was making. So I'm going to read some from each section, a couple poems from each section. As Sean said, the first section is called Periopsis, and this is the point on the path when the orbiting body is nearest the body it orbits. So these are childhood poems. So I'm going to read, I'm going to start with a poem called "It Will Have Started as a Small Comb." In the eaves of the house, with the basement where you kept your lab mice, in the eaves of the house, where the moths hid beneath the leathery laurel, in the living room, between the living and dying, between the bedroom and the mirror, the hallway and the rotary phone, the driveway and the oil stains, the ivy strangling the oak, the rhododendron that croaked, which was the moment you decided forever was worse than dying. In the house, which was the sun porch, the cold room, the stairwell, the stifling attic, the roof, which was the ladder he lugged toward the nest of hornets, the ladder no one could steady but him, head shrouded in a tattered flannel shirt, fumigating the moment, which was the language of multiple stings, lexicon of a stinger lodged, releasing more venom when you tried to pull it out. My mother, who told me the Bible's a Mount Everest of metaphor, the seventh day more likely the 8 trillionth, the Holy Spirit about as real as Casper the Friendly Ghost. My mother, who never once definitively sang in the key of judgment, the lexicon of flames. My equivocating, not sure he's the savior mother, calls me with an urgent message. Billy Graham's 95th birthday special. Mother of peace, mother who sanctioned my Sunday school exodus when the teacher refused to define adultery, who rolled her eyes at shiny offering plates, who yada yada the Lord's Prayer, Mother too busy browsing the female eunuch to read aloud from the book of Jonah, to reason a man could live 3 days in the belly of a whale. Mother lacking sufficient conviction to share the story of the loaves and fishes, inciting me to fall to my knees as I did one day in 1974, the man on the screen having told me I must. Let me just get some water. This, at the end of this poem, they're really hard to say, but I mentioned the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and those are organelles inside the cell. They're part of the transportation system. Instead of a father, a volcano, a girl puzzling through long division between eruptions, a girl working hard to discern the intervals between disturbances. It was a kind of having to duck from the pumice. It was like the chunk of anthracite in your 3rd grade classroom, the one the teacher couldn't stop talking about. It was like the chained dogs at Pompeii. It was that pitch, one of the many greatest hits of the 70s. Steadfast, like breathing in the finest particles, the ones that lodge in your blood, like a cubic mile of ash and mud and rock. A seismic jolt followed by an explosion. It was like a heat surge scorching every eukaryotic cell, its Golgi apparatus, its smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and its rough endoplasmic reticulum, each eukernel singed. Okay, so the second section is called orbit insertion, and that's where the orbiting body is adjusting in momentum to enter a stable orbit. So working toward a stable orbit. This is called gerbils in space. And geckos, fruit flies, kernels of corn, amoebas and bacteria, black mice and white mice. Once upon a time, a dog named Laika ascended in Sputnik 2. Egregious PR on the count of no plan for a safe return. But once they figured out re-entry, up went Belka and Strelka, public support. 2 Russian tortoises, a posse of mealworms, a few dozen wine flies, all aboard Zond 5, first orbiting of the moon. Before a human could venture into weightlessness, 6 rhesus monkeys named Albert preceded, each one charmed with its own uniquely abysmal end. Explosions, suffocation, failing parachutes. The French launched Felicette, electrodes jammed beneath feline skin, transmitting her condition to the safely on the ground. More than hers, 100 miles above our penny loafered feet, I wonder about the condition of the brains beneath bouffanted, mop-topped heads, of a wavering between staunchest enemies and let's do this moon thing together, friends. A dozen gerbils 350 miles above me as I type, high-tech gadgets sucking up ethereal waste, for the broken free and the gravity blessed, for the constantly pulling in, constantly falling back. So this next poem, for a year before I started writing this poem, I had in my notes on my iPhone, I was keeping track of every time autocorrect changed a word and it just startled me. And so I had this long list and I was traveling back from having seen my parents, and my father at that point was very, very unstable. and he had guns in the house, etc. It all comes out in this poem. But I was able to draw on some of the list. And as I was typing during that week, these things actually were the autocorrect. So it's kind of amazing to me how my phone did this. Okay. Ode to autocorrect. Because it changes O'Hare to oh hate, oh hate, oh hate, over and over, no matter how many times I retype it. Oh hate, like an American tune, an American fable, where you can enter an oh hate bathroom, take a selfie in the mirror because your sister wants to see the pockets of your great American rhinestone jeans. Because on a street called Viewpoint, I get home becomes I get guns, off a road on a mission to kill every squirrelish pedestrian, because he was packing, concealed, threatening to use it, use his hands or feet. My feet, I am of a son of a birch, of a brick chatting with the devil, with God, with the listener not listening, because he'd gone bonnets, his garden bounty of faded wine, his wife's linguine longing for a golden ear. So I took her to the botanical gardens in my getaway car, to a fruit on a vine, but the limes went lemur, the night to non-fat, the clear to catastrophic, because driving away from the frogman croaking hypocrite, heavenly went down like a melting hedge, a gal gone hogtied, a fish crying, a tiger togetherness, flight or fucked, a heart stroked, racing to its vicarious carousel, a fungus lashed to a beam gone beleaguered, because he will kill her. That's his plan, to kill us all. Cannot commit or commute, can't debone his breath, can't take his acute paranoia, chalk it up to cute. Because this here's a Josie madhouse, a bedroom, bedrock locked, because boulevard morphed to bled, spirit summoned with the Ouija board. Because soap holder went love hen, the love had flown the calacanthus like the grilled portobellos, messing with his vowels. Please, please, I pleaded to the pleading day, because prayer is like a bread line, a penny for your exploded mind, because lots of logs to you, Ma, because so sorry went poem. And for some reason, my phone, every time I type house, changes it to Josie. Don't ask me, it still does it. Josie. I don't know any Josies. Okay, just a few more. The third section, escape velocity. So the lowest velocity which a body must have to escape the orbit, to escape the gravitational attraction of a particular planet or object. So this is where I get to take off. All right, 5 minutes. I guess I'll just read 2 more. And this is called Space Probe Pantoum. I'm continually so interested in those Voyager probes. They weren't supposed to last this long, and they are still sending back data. They are over 14 billion miles away now. Isn't that incredible? And I don't know, maybe not to you, but I find it just amazing. So I wrote Space Probe Pantoum. This was about 5-6 years ago when they thought we'd lose contact any day, and they're still sending back information. Voyager 1 is leaving home. Solar winds have slackened. We didn't know there'd be a transition zone. Solar winds have slackened, particles from here and there. Hello, Who knew there'd be a transition zone at the edge of a windless edge? Particles from here and there. Hello? When the pole switch will be certain at the edge of a windless edge in a zone we've never known. When the pole switch will be certain. Unexpected, this zipping and zooming in a zone we've never known. We call this part the bow shock. Unexpected, this zipping and zooming. We're safe here with our sun. We call this part the bow shock. The exit, they say, will be rough. We're safe here with our sun, not like a footprint on the moon. The exit will be rough, won't be all at once. Not like a footprint on the moon. Like some strange angel, it won't be all at once. Flitting around on the fringe like some strange angel. We know we're nearly there, flitting around us on the fringe. Us stuff nearly gone. We know we're nearly there. Voyager 1 is leaving home. Us stuff nearly gone. We didn't know. We didn't know. And the last poem I'll read is the last poem in the book. It's in the voice of Yuri Gagarin, who was the first cosmonaut who got shot up into space. And this is really his story of getting to do what it was like. So again, thank you so much to Kalamazoo Book Arts and everyone here. It's kind of overwhelming to see you all, so I really appreciate your being here. And I'm really looking forward to Tanika's reading. Breakaway Effect, and this starts with an epigram. In a study published in the April 1957 issue of Aviation Medicine, 35% of training astronauts and cosmonauts reported having experienced a strange feeling of having broken the bonds of the terrestrial sphere. Psychologists referred to this phenomenon as the breakaway effect. And that's from Mary Roach's book, Packing for Mars. As if my body were a door or gate, cabinet bereft of its rational rations, they worried I'd unhinge, become the lunatic saboteur. They barred my hands from touching their switches and dials, my access to the manual. But here I am, surprise, your peaceful giant, benevolent king of the cosmos. It's all I can do to keep from belting out. The motherland hears, the motherland knows where her sun flies in the sky. Down there, every sunset's a smashed egg. Up here, dusk's a pink-cheeked Savachka, a violet violence, orange of longing stilled. They said I'd panic.
Martha, you got muted.
Oh gosh, when did I get muted? I must have touched something. Should I, when did it happen?
Just like a minute ago.
Okay, did you hear me read any of
You said,
Breakaway?
I think it was when you said, they said I panicked. That was
Okay. All right, let me just find where it was.
I think you were down to motherland.
Oh, okay. The motherland hears, the motherland knows where her sun flies in the sky. Down there, every sunset's a smashed egg. Up here, dust's a pink-cheeked Devachka, a violent violence, orange of longing stilled. They said I'd panic, shock of fathomless vacuum akin to slicing a kayak through the Bering Strait, never having commandeered a pair of paddles freed from their clips. Instead, I'm glued to the portal, to the wispy beards of mountains, stray hair rivers, lemony fields of wheat, light as if streaming from the stained glass of Pokrovsky Cathedral. Each dawn, a powder blue halo, and me with just one wish to never return. Thank you.